Hey Racketeers, what's going on? In this video, we're going to be talking about the perfect backstroke technique. So let's just dive right into it. When you swim backstroke, it's important that your arms come above your body, straight above your body line and above your eyes with your arm straight. You'll see here Parker's fingertips coming straight above his eyes and entering right behind his head. This wouldn't be possible if his arm wasn't straight. A straight arm recovery is important in backstroke because it allows you to reach farther back and creates leverage when pulling and creates momentum moving backwards. Like all 4 strokes in swimming, the streamline is the most important part. If you can streamline kick on your back and breathe, then you are well on your way to swimming backstroke. Having your arms behind your head like that creates a front quadrant technique that allows your body to stay balanced in the water and helps you create a longer body line. A long body line in the water is important because you can swim more hydrodynamically and usually you can pull more water and you're more efficient. Your head position on backstroke should be the opposite of freestyle. When you're on your belly swimming freestyle, you want your chin down and tucked a little bit. On backstroke, you want it up. In fact, your chin should be higher than your forehead when you swim. You might feel like you're swimming upside down or tipping backwards too much. That's actually the feeling you want, because if your head position is too high, then your legs will sink in the water and you'll be sitting up, causing a lot of resistance. Your head is like the steering wheel of a car when you swim, so wherever your head turns, your body follows. If you turn it to the left, it'll go left. If you turn it to the right, it'll go right. If you push it down, you'll go down. And if you pick it up, your body will try to go up and then gravity will pull you back down. So if you struggle with sinking legs, oftentimes it's your head position that you need to fix. The perfect head position will cause a little bit of water to trickle over your forehead. If it starts to go over your goggles, you're pushing your head too far down in the water. But if it comes over your forehead, that's a good thing. If you really don't like getting water over your face, mouth, nose, all those areas, then it's important that you pick your chin about a ½ inch up into the air once you've got it back in the correct position. Don't strain your neck, because then you're lifting it too high and your legs will start sinking and you'll feel like you're swimming uphill. Keep the chin tilted back and maybe pick it up a ½ inch. For your arms, I have 4 steps to the perfect backstroke technique. The first step is big, tall arms. I discussed this earlier. Get your hands high into the air on the recovery part of the stroke. The second step is to reach back as far as you can to grab as much water as you can with every single arm pull. The second step will be made easier by the first step if you're successful, so do the steps in order. The third step to perfect backstroke arms is strong invisible hands. Once your hand enters the water, it becomes almost invisible to viewers above the surface. That's the most important part of the stroke, the pull. It's like the iceberg. The majority of the work is done underneath the surface. When you're pulling on backstroke, you need to have a strong hand under the water to put a lot of pressure on the water. You don't need to cup it or spread your fingers. A nice relaxed hand will do. The fourth step to backstroke is windmill arms. Like a windmill, your arms should always be operating opposite in tandem. That means as one hand is entering the water behind your head, the other hand should be finishing down by your hips. When one arm is straight up in the air, the other arm should be in the middle of its pull. If the backstroke rotates like a strong windmill, then you're going to be churning water faster, sturdier, and smoother. Now that you've got the right arms, let's revisit the head position. Make sure that chin is still up, and if you're getting water over your face, you can pick the chin up ½ inch. The backstroke kick is very similar to the freestyle kick. They're in their own category called the flutter kick because your feet flutter one at a time. However, the backstroke kick differs than the freestyle kick in one small way. The backstroke kick should be half as big in volume and twice as fast in frequency. So, if you're kicking freestyle, a deeper kick is usually better. However, on backstroke, if you kick too deep, you'll start to bow your back backwards, which isn't very hydrodynamic. Now you have momentum going in 2 different directions. We want everything working together seamlessly. So, tighten up the kick and don't kick so deep or so high. Try to make it a smaller box that you're kicking within. Kick half as big and twice as fast as you would on freestyle. With freestyle, a nice, slower, sturdier beat is okay and usually preferable. However, with backstroke, you want it to go a little bit faster because your body is rotating a little bit faster. Now, I said something key there I want you to know. Your body is rotating faster side to side than it does on freestyle because you're swimming more like a windmill. Your arms have a hard time waiting for one another to swim a catch-up backstroke. Well, that's not really a thing anyway because it's not very effective at all. So if you're moving like a windmill, you're going to be rotating side to side faster, whereas on freestyle, you might be delaying how fast you rotate as you wait for strokes to catch up. So if your arms are moving faster, then your feet need to move faster in order to keep in sync. So half as big, twice as fast. Now there are some nuances to the stroke of backstroke that'll be interesting for competitive swimmers. However, everyone can learn from the following. When your hand enters the water on backstroke behind your head, it's important that it is directly behind your head. If it crosses over your body line, then you'll be pulling yourself sideways with every arm stroke. If it enters too far off to the side, then you won't be getting a full stroke. That's a common mistake I see in most beginners, is their hands coming straight up above them and then falling off to the side for only half a pull. You want your hand to come straight up above your head and reach back behind your head so that it enters, preferably pinky first, and you can then pull with a flat hand. When your hand is underneath the water, you would want it to be a little bit of an elbow bend, but more of a catch, so your elbow is trailing behind your hand. Your hand should be exactly perpendicular to the surface. You're always traveling in the direction of the back of your palm. So if we're going backwards, we want our hand and our palm to be pointing forwards. Your hand should be about 6 inches below the surface of the water, and your fingertips should be pointing directly to the side of the pool. At the bottom of your pool, you want to pretend like you're ripping a pocket off the side of your hip. Your hand landing directly behind your head is also more hydrodynamic, allowing water displacement to go around your head using your hand, which is shaped more like an arrow than your head. When kicking on backstroke, for beginners, I want you to focus just on your feet. You don't need to worry about kicking from the hips just yet. Focus on your feet, get them fluttering, get them relaxed. Then start focusing on your knees. Start controlling the kick with just your knees. Here you might create or develop a little bit too much of a knee bend, but that's okay. We'll get rid of that soon. Once you've mastered the feet and the knees, now we're going to move back to the hips. So now you're controlling the kick from your hips using your hip flexors, your glutes, and your lower abdomen, so your core. This is going to be important to stretch out nice and tall at this point, because the taller you stretch, the easier it will be to kick with your entire leg. A kick from the hip is also more effective and powerful because it's like a whip. If I were holding a whip right here, and I moved it side to side, the base wouldn't move very much. Well, those are your hips. The middle of it would move significantly more. Those are your knees. And the bottom of the whip would be moving the most side to side, covering the biggest distance. Those are your feet. So it's hard to get a small kick if you start by kicking from your hips, but competitive swimmers and advanced swimmers should be kicking using their hips and their abdomen, not so much their knees or feet. That's for a beginner. The last nuance in backstroke that I want to discuss is the backstroke rotation. Backstroke rotation is important because the stroke is not very hydrodynamic. It's more hydrodynamic than, say, a butterfly or breaststroke, but it's not as hydrodynamic as a freestyle. And when you're on your side, your body is more hydrodynamic in the water than when you're flat. Part of that is because when you're on your side, more of your body is out of the water than when you're on your back, flat. Here, the majority of your body is under the water. Think of it as having one shoulder going through the water and one shoulder above the water versus having both shoulders plowing through the water. You'll know if you have a good rotation if the opposite shoulder, the one of the recovery arm, is peaking above the water as you swim. A shoulder coming out of the water is a faster backstroke because it raises the body higher in the water and creates more of a freestyle type backstroke with shoulders coming out of the water and clearing the surface. Remember, if more of your stroke is in the air, you'll go faster through the water than if more of your stroke is underwater. The only time that differs is with your head. The majority of your head should always be under the water because if it's out of the water, the rest of your body will start sinking. So head under and try to figure out ways to get your body more above. Well, that's all I have for you in this video. If you found it helpful, please splash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on our other social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok for tips and shorter clips throughout the week. You can also text me on my personal cell phone number or email me for your own private swim lessons or online lessons if you don't live in Austin, Texas. Those can be booked online right now over at rocketswimming.com. If you like the shirts I wear and my hats that I've designed, those are now available over over in our brand new merch store. There will be a QR code at the end of this video on the end screens if you want to leave me a tip. Thank you to everyone who supports my channel in any way. Really appreciate all of you guys. Now get ready to rock it.